Recording ready? Okay. Good evening, members of the Council, officers of Rother District Council, and members of the public, attending in person or watching online. Welcome to the annual Council meeting of Rother District Council. First of all, apologies for absence. Are there any apologies for absence, please?
Yes, Chair. Councillors Groner and Winter.
Thank you. And also Councillor Ganley and Councillor Jurwan will be attending remotely tonight. Now, the next item is the election of the Chair of Council. And could I have the nominations, please, for the appointment of Chair of the Council? Councillor Oliver.
Thank you, Chair. It would give me great pleasure to nominate Councillor Andrew Mear for the position of Chair.
Thank you. And a seconder, please. Yes, it's okay. Councillor Polly there, yes.
I would like to second Councillor Andrew Mear.
Councillor Polly, great. Thank you. Are there any other nominations for the election of Chair of the Council, please? Moment of tension. There being none, I could declare that Councillor Andrew Mear has been elected. Congratulations, Andrew.
Please be upstanding for the Chair of Rother District Council.
Please be seated. I now need to sign the Declaration of Acceptance of Office. This one. I, Andrew Mear, having been elected to the office of Chair of the Council of Rother District Council, declare that I shall take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. Thank you. Councillors, I thank you all for the confidence that you've placed in me. I do hope that it's well placed, and I look forward to working together with you and with our officers, of course, during the coming year. I very much look forward to that. Thank you all very much indeed. We now come on to agenda item number 9, which is election of the Vice Chair of the Council. And could I please have nominations for the appointment of the Vice Chair? Councillor Oliver?
I thought someone else was going to nominate the Vice Chair, but I'm very, very happy to. I think this is Councillor Mark Legg, which I'm told is
The second.
the second Labour member in 50 years to take that position. I'm delighted to, and I think this is under the thing of having the chair as a rural member and then the vice chair as a town better member.
Thank you, Councillor. And I am very happy to second that myself. Thank you. Are there any other nominations for the election of Vice Chair? As there are none, I put Councillor Clegg's nomination to the meeting, and I declare Councillor Legg to be duly appointed. Please come forward.
I'd like to take the opportunity of thanking everybody in the chamber for your vote and hope that I will be able to discharge my duties to the best of my ability and to serve the community to the best of my abilities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor. We come on to agenda item 15, the minutes of the last meetings. I seek approval from the Council to approve and sign the minutes of the Council meetings held on the 24th of February and the 19th of March 2025. Do I have your approval to sign the minutes of those meetings as correct records? All those in favour? Carried unanimously. And do I sign? Oh, there. There should be two knots, shouldn't there? Thank you. And this brings us on to the Chair's communications. Of course, so far as my own activities are concerned, there have been none. But there is sad news of which councillors will all already have had notice. And that is to announce the sad recent passing of the former Rother District Councillor, Wendy Myers. Wendy Myers was first elected to Rother District Council in May 1995 and served until 2011 as an independent councillor representing Darwell Ward. She served as Vice Chair of the Council in 2005 to 2006 and Chair of the Council in 2006 to 7. During her time at Rother, she served on a number of committees, including Recreation and Tourism, Community and Environment, Planning and Licensing and General Purposes. She chaired the Licensing and General Purposes Committee from 2002 to 2006, at the time when the licensing function transferred from the magistrates' courts to the local authorities. Wendy Myers also served on the Standards Committee from 2007 as a district councillor and then more latterly as a parish and town council representative from 2011 until 2024. I'm sure some of you will remember her and will want to pay your own tributes. And I know that Councillor Kirby Green would like to speak.
Thank you, Chairman. I knew Wendy when I was in my 20s. She was the rather glamorous and formidable councillor for Darwell Ward with David Berricker. I then got to know her when I was first elected to Darwell Ward in 2014. She was the parish council chairman in Dallington, and she was so supportive. I think she liked the fact that she had a young, I mean, I'm not that young, but I think compared to what she'd had before, I was young. And I think she was quite enamoured with the fact that she had this young district councillor who was quite keen, and she sort of showed me the ropes and took me around and introduced me to lots of people that I needed to know because she obviously knew her patch. She was Dallington chairman until recently. She was Dallington. I mean, she was involved in everything. The church, the annual pantomime, the flower show, I mean, everything that you could think of. And it's really sad because I think that there are fewer people like that now. I know I've lost a few recently in my patch. And she did everything, didn't she? So, yeah, sorry, it's quite emotional. She was very glamorous. She was lovely, and she missed rather desperately. So when she wasn't elected in 2011, so she'd always ask me what was going on, and she wanted to know about everyone. So she missed it because it was sort of a big thing in her life. And we found out she would often come around for cups of tea, and we found out that her granddaughter played chess with my son, bizarrely. So we had that connection. But she was a lovely lady, and she did a huge amount of good work for the parish, and she'll be missed very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Councillor. Councillor Clark.
Thank you, Chair. Wendy Myers was a wonderful lady and a fellow independent. She was very effective on planning and all the other committees she served on. She had friends in Bexhill, and we would often meet up and have lunch and discuss many things. Even after she left the council, she would often attend full council as an interested resident from up there. She was very well liked by members of all parties and was very easy to get on with. My thoughts are with her family. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Now, Councillor Maynard.
Thank you very much indeed, Chairman, and I'd certainly like to be associated with what's already been said, but the fact of the matter remains that Wendy was on this council for 16 years. I can remember very well she was one of the councillors that stood out when I joined the council 26 years ago, after she'd already served a term. She was very knowledgeable in terms of council business, took it seriously, but always polite, always generous in spirit, always, as Charlie's just alluded to, extremely friendly, regardless of anybody's political persuasion, and woe betide anybody who inquired as to her political persuasion, because she was fiercely independent. And in fact, I think I'm not over-egging the pudding to say that she disliked party politics. She was very much somebody who was a district councillor, was a parish councillor, who enjoyed helping people, very, very inquisitive. But I think also I would say that she was very glamorous, but she was also delightfully eccentric with some of the things that she did. I will never forget the first time I went on a planning bus with Wendy. She said, "I don't normally do this, you know." And I said, "Why is that then, Wendy?" She said, "Well, I like to follow the planning bus in my car." And it was always very amusing to be out in the planning bus, going down a country lane, going down a long farm track, watching Wendy try and navigate her Jaguar XJ6 along some of these lanes. And she was always, desperate to keep exactly behind, immediately behind the planning bus. But she was extremely generous in spirit. She was very much somebody, as Ellen has alluded to, she absolutely cared passionately for the village of Dallington in particular. I think she lived there for some 50 years, obviously lived in more than one property, but it's incredible. I mean, Dallington is a small place, but when I have friends in Dallington, whenever I went to Dallington, my friends live on the street, and we walk over to the churchyard. Oh, hello, Carl, how are you? I think she must have lived in the church there, but she was obviously church warden there as well. She would always inquire as to your well-being, and it wasn't just a passing, how are you, how are the children, how so-and-so. She would always take an interest in anybody she spoke to. She was, as Eleanor said, she was quite an exceptional person, and she will be very sadly missed. I would like, from this side of the chamber, to pass our condolences on to her family, particularly, obviously, her daughter Samantha and her granddaughter. She will be sadly missed, and yes, she was 78, but these days, I have to say, when I thought of Wendy, I thought she'd live until she was in her 90s and still be toddling around Dallington and inquiring as to people's well-being. And genuinely, the community spirit was alive and well in somebody like Wendy. She was an exceptional human being, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Osborne.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, as been previously said, Wendy was a lovely, lovely lady. She was chairman of this council when I was chairman and mayor of Rye, and so she would be over into Rye a few times. Always so friendly, always so immaculately dressed. We used to go and get a drink in the George afterwards, after a function or something, and it's really nice. And as has been said, if you ever see her, she used to, once she was no longer a member of the council, you'd quite often see her sat in the members in the public gallery, and she'd always say hello and have a natter. So yeah, it's just a lovely, genuine person, and I don't think much can be said to honour anyone better than that, to be honest. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Is there any other Councillor Field?
Thank you. I was never on this council with Councillor Myers, but I did used to meet her at parish council meetings where her district ward coincided with my county division. And everything that's been said over there is true. She was a lovely lady, very well-meaning, very knowledgeable. A bit like being at school, though, we used to sit in the back row and chat for a lot of the meetings. And then we never went out for lunch, but we did used to retire to the pub. So I shall miss her enormously. I didn't know she'd died. And I would have to say, from my end of the telescope, 78 is not really very old at all. Taken before her time, I think. But she will be missed. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there anyone else? Well, thank you very much, councillors, and it's been very moving to hear those tributes, and I wish I had known her myself. Condolences to her family. Item number 17, we now move to a vote of thanks to the outgoing chair, and I call on Councillor Proshak.
Very proud of our Alliance chairs. They've set the bar high. Thank you. No pressure, Councillor Muir. My duty tonight is to actually pay tribute to our colleague here who chaired so well for the last year. I quickly went through the chairman's communications at the beginning of every meeting, and I'd sort of lost count of how many things he'd been to and how many events he'd supported. And he's counted that he was officially at 74. Well, I'm sure there were far more than 74. He forgot Buckingham Palace, didn't he?
Buckingham Palace, yes. Well, it's insignificant, yeah.
So lots of unofficial engagements as well. And a wide variety of duties that he's performed. So singing on stage in a pantomime. He met David Dimbleby. He supported so many charities. I mean, a good one was the sustainability in Rye. That one was supporting that. He supported sports, the bowls here, tennis, table tennis, judo as well. He also went to the opening, or the celebration, of the railway connection to Bodiam, the Heritage Railway connection. So he supported Rother Valley Railway and the Kent and East Sussex Railway. Thank you for that. Attended local mosques and many links with other councils, many links. Actually getting to know other councillors and remembering that this chairman of council role is non-political. You leave your politics, when you put the chain on, the politics go. So thank you for including and inclusion. Food banks was his chosen charity, and thank you to those, Brian, Jimmy, to helped him raise money for those. I think £4,000? £4,000 raised. And this man ran 2 5-kilometre Santa runs. Impressive. And you raised 1,500 for those. I think one of the greatest legacies throughout all this work and visits and support for our district, his work, his passion, his work he's put into the housing company. And if we have one good legacy, and there are many, will be our housing company. Thank you for that. You've put heart and soul into it, I know. And I read in one of the comments that you made in your chairman's communications, he said, "I thank the council for one of the best jobs in the world. Saying thanks, receiving thanks, and being a witness to all that is done on behalf of Rother residents." So I'm really proud and happy to move the words, let me find them, that the council record its gratitude to Richard Thomas for his conscientious and impartial discharge of the duties of the chair during his term of office. Thank you, Richard.
Very much.
And Councillor Oliver, you second.
I'm very happy to second this move for the vote of thanks, because Richard has, I won't go into any detail, but his enthusiasm, his energy, and the way that he's formally represented Rother on many occasions as a civic functions, and I think you've discharged these duties in a very professional way, Richard, and thank you so much.
Councillor Thomas.
Thank you, Councillor. I'd just like to take this opportunity of thanking Lorna Thord and Lisa Cooper, because they do a tremendous amount of work behind the scenes that makes these meetings possible. So I'd like to thank both of them from the bottom of my heart, and also Eleanor Drew, who works as the Secretary of the Chair of Council, and she is tireless and efficient and absolutely delightful to work with. I'd like to thank her as well. And finally, I'd like to thank Doug Oliver for personal support during this time. My last thanks are to all of you for all the work you do on behalf of Rother District Council. Thank you very much.
And before we move to vote on that, I'd like to say myself that the only thing that Richard has done wrong in the course of the past year is to set an impossibly high bar for me to follow. I could not envisage doing that number of things and attending that number of meetings and visits. You have been absolutely marvellous, Richard, you really have. And you have chaired these meetings so effectively and firmly and fairly. Everyone's had their say and everything's been orderly. And if I can say at the end of my year anything remotely approaching that, I will be very, very happy indeed. Thank you so much, Richard. Thank you very much indeed. Councillors, you have heard the motion. Are we agreed on that? Those in favour? Yes. Yes, that is overwhelmingly, completely NEMCOM carried. Thank you. We now move to agenda item number 20, appointment of deputy leaders. Councillor Oliver.
Thank you, Chair. I'm delighted to confirm that Councillors Bayliss and Killeen have been reappointed as deputy leaders of the council.
Agenda item 21, appointment of cabinet members. Councillor Oliver.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to confirm that the cabinet will comprise the leader and the following 8 members with the following portfolios as they are printed on page 4. Shall I go on to item 22?
Please continue.
Thank you. To confirm the appointments to the Joint Waste and Recycling Committee, to confirm that Councillors Field and Timpey have been reappointed as the Council's representatives on the Joint Waste and Recycling Committee, with Councillors Killeen and Rathbone Ariel as substitutes.
And continuing to Cabinet spokespersons.
Thank you very much. I'd like to confirm that Councillors Clark and Gray have been reappointed as Cabinet spokespersons on older persons and promoting livable neighbourhoods, that's cycling and walking, respectively, and that Councillor Byrne remains the Armed Forces Champion and becomes a Cabinet spokesperson for the Armed Forces.
Carrying on with item 24.
Appointments to the Property and Service Investment Panel. And disposal panel, I confirm that colleague councillors Bayliss, Gioan, Colleen, Osborne and Thomas have been appointed as members of the Property and Service Investment and Disposal panel.
And item 25, appointments to council's committees.
I would just move Appendix 1, setting out the committees and appointments thereto, approved and adopted.
As the allocation of committee seats does not strictly accord with the political balance requirements, a NEMCON vote will be required, that is to say, no member voting against, do we need a seconder? Yes? Do we have a seconder for that? Yes, Councillor Timpe seconds. I will now put it to the vote. All those in favour, please vote now. Yes, that is carried NEMCON. Agenda item number 27, to receive the report and recommendations. 26. I have jumped. Agenda item 26. Disclosure of interests and dispensations. Are there any disclosures by members of interests and any dispensations in matters on the agenda? If so, please declare the nature of any such interest under the terms of the Code of Conduct. Councillor Thomas.
I'm sorry, as Chair of the Housing Company, Chair.
In relation to which item on the agenda?
Did that automatically without even thinking about it, frankly.
When it comes up.
Yes, I will say when it comes up. An excellent answer given to me by my colleagues here.
Yes, thank you. And Councillor Cooper.
I'm just following Richard's lead. I'm also on the board of the Housing Company.
Yes, I think other councillors probably don't need to follow that unless it relates to a specific item on the agenda. But of course, if any councillor does have a disclosure, they should do so when we come to the agenda item and re-declare or declare for the first time if they have forgotten at this stage. Are there any further disclosures? None at this stage. Then we shall move on to agenda item number 27, which is to receive the report and recommendations from Cabinet. Councillor Oliver.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to move the report of meetings of Cabinet on the 7th of April and the 12th of May be approved and adopted.
Is that seconded? Second. Councillor Bayliss. I shall now call over the report. If a report minute is not reserved for discussion, it will be automatically approved without debate. If members want to speak and/or amend any recommendations, they must reserve the minute when I call out the minute number. If members wish to reserve an item for discussion, please indicate as I call over. The meeting of the 7th of April 2025, CB 2487, Reasonable Adjustments Policy for Tenants of Rother District Council Properties. CB 2488, Capital Investment and Treasury Management Strategy for 2025 to 26. CB 2489, Future of Rother Community Grants. Councillor Burton. CB 2490, King Offer Leisure and Residential Development and proposed reallocation of funding to temporary accommodation, Blackfriars and the Heart of Sidley projects. CB 2491, Sidley Depot lease and purchase option. CB 2496, Crowhurst Neighbourhood Plan Review. Some of the minutes have been called over and reserved for debate. I therefore move that the whole of the report, with the exception of the reserved minutes, be approved and adopted. This means that the Cabinet recommendations that are not reserved are approved without discussion. Do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Killeen, thank you. All those in favour? And that is carried. Thank you. I shall now proceed to deal with the reserved minutes. Councillor Burton.
Thank you, Chair. Commenting on this and this proposal, I see many positives in relation to the new plan in relation to community grants. However, I do have concerns about the emphasis that community groups need to be involved in every aspect of applications. Why do I say that? Because firstly, I have first-hand experience before I stood on this council of being a volunteer. It took me 6 years to work on the Battle Health Pathway project. I had a team helping me, but I was the key driver, if I think I'm correct in saying, of this scheme. And so it relies very much on inspired individuals who then bring a team around them. There's another example. In Rye, we have an individual who's passionate about composting. He's got a team around him. But nowhere else in Rother do we have that individual. So that composting, community composting, has not taken off. So that's my first concern in relation to relying on the voluntary sector so heavily. Secondly, a lot of the applications in the past have predominantly come from town and parish councils. Why is that? Because people become councillors because they want to make a difference, and they become a team who work together and they inspire each other. So I feel that it's really important as we go forward with this plan, as mentioned about the review of spend, the review of take-up is very looked at very carefully, because the emphasis of the whole scheme is to help projects happen in our community and not to hold on to the fund. That's my comment.
And that is a comment rather than a motion.
Yes, it's a comment rather than a motion. But there is still work to do, which is delegated responsibility in the recommendations, so that I'm contributing to that aspect.
Thank you. Councillor Kirby-Green, did you wish to speak?
I only wanted to respond about the composting. I'd be shot if I didn't mention this. In Burwash, we have Soilcraft, which is a new CIC that's been set up, all about composting. I've got 2 ladies who are absolutely passionate about it. They're the farmers market, and they are developing it, and they want to roll it out wider. So there are other groups within Rother, I promise you.
Councillor Bayliss.
Yes, thank you. And thank you to my councillor colleague from Battle for comments. And I think we had some similar concerns, and I feel more or less that those have been met, and we will go forward, I think, to delivering with Sussex community a really good scheme. I would just follow on from what Councillor Kirby-Green has said. I'm working on a project actually with Councillor Rathbone-Ariel in St Leonard's Road in Bexhill, which is supported by our colleague in Rye, who is the composting man. So, yes, he's spreading the word, even over to Bexhill-on-Sea, and helping us. So I hope that puts your mind at rest, that actually he's doing some real good.
Councillor McGurk.
Thanks, Chair. Just to say we're all talking about the chap in Rye, who is fantastic and he does a great job. And I just wanted to say, slightly belated, happy 75th birthday to Graham, which was yesterday, and a few of us were at a surprise birthday party in Rye Community Centre, and it was a great occasion. Does a great job.
Thank you. Councillor Coleman, then Councillor Field.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. You'll be relieved to know I'm not going to talk about compost. I just while it was on the topic, I thought I was originally against this when it first came forward a while back, and now on Cabinet I voted for it, and I just thought it might be useful to explain why. And I think before the local government review and devolution process started, for me it was very much about us keeping control of our community grants money so that we could make sure it's distributed properly and we can make sure the amount doesn't get reduced or anything like that, and putting it into a different hand sort of felt like giving away our control over that money that does a lot of good. But actually, I think the fact that we're not going to exist in a couple of years' time, putting that money in safe hands with a company that will exist beyond the end of Rother is actually a way to ensure that that money continues to be there and continues to deliver community grants for people. And I understand also, which a lot of community groups in Sidley will be very glad about, that the process will be simplified compared to the current Rother process to apply for grants. Because one of the things that stops people applying for our grants currently is that they say, I don't understand the forms, there's too much back and forth compared to other grant pots and things. And so actually a simplified process run by experts who know what they're doing, who will be going on long beyond when we are sort of existing, I think that's a positive. So that's why I support it. And hopefully the composting people of Battle and beyond support it as well.
Councillor Field.
Thank you. Councillor Coleman's contribution, I think, has gone a long way to explain why this took some time to get to this point, and it wasn't an easy journey. We are very committed, as you know, to community grants from our own resources for our own residents. But I would hope that when this has perhaps been going for a year, we do a proper review of its success to make sure that it is delivering what we hope it will and what we are telling people it will. And if it doesn't or hasn't, there'll still be time in the life of this council to make necessary amendments to the scheme. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Prochak.
Just a quick question, and thank you for bringing it up. Obviously, there's interest in this. Is when is it going to get going again? Because we've now got a hiatus where we've had no applications, and we can't actually say to people, apply.
Would that be Councillor Bayliss, or who would that be? Councillor Killian, then.
Yes, I'm sorry, I can't answer that question. I need to go back and check, and I'll feed it back.
Well, thank you, and I'm sure we'll all be notified in writing so that we know where we stand. Thank you, councillors. Are there any others? No, in which case we put this to the vote, I think. Yes. All those in favour of accepting the report? That is carried. Thank you very much. And 28. Agenda item 28, to receive the report and recommendations from the Audit Committee. And that is to receive the Audit Committee report on matters for determination by full council at its meeting held on the 24th of March 2025. Councillor Drayson.
Thank you, Chair, and congratulations on your appointment this evening. On 24th of March, the Audit Committee discussed the Corporate Risk Register, and although that's mentioned in the title, that is continuously under review by the SLT and changes with the weather. Tonight's recommendation is actually that we approve the amendments to the risk management policy, and that was the recommendation from the Audit Committee, and it's in the report. Thank you, Chair.
And I believe I have to call this over as before. I shall now call over the report. We have a second from Councillor John Barnes. Thank you. I shall now call over the report. If the minute is not reserved for discussion, it will be automatically approved without debate. If members want to speak and or amend the recommendation, you must reserve the minute when I call out the minute number. And 24th of March 2025, AC 2431, Corporate Risk Register and Review of Risk Management Policy. Councillor John Barnes. And having been called over, you wish to speak.
Very briefly, Chairman. 2 points. One is that we are reducing our risk appetite, which I think is very appropriate in the current difficult circumstances, and that is why the Chairman moved what he did and I seconded. The other is to say this is very much the risk register as it stood at January, and it really does need continuous review at the moment, because the situation is changing quite drastically as we get more details of devolution. So some of the risks in the first risk on the register, for example, will be more than mitigated. Others may come to the fore. And we do need to do some work around separating out risk 2. I know that the Chief Executive has this in mind, but we are unlikely to meet our housing target, which has impact on planning. But we are actually very successfully mitigating our problems with the homeless. And in a sense, lumping those two into one risk is misleading, because actually it does less than justice to our success as a housing authority. But it obscures, in a sense, the very real risk to us in the High Weald in particular, but I think in most rural areas which are under pressure to have housing which is incompatible with many of the policies in the local plan, and quite a number of applications are being granted now under paragraph 11D, which really ought to be the exception rather than the rule. So quite important that we realise this is a snapshot in time and that we do need to continually update that risk at the moment. And I think that will go on for a couple of years, because I don't see the situation easing in that period.
Thank you, thank you, Councillor. Would anyone else wish to speak? No. In which case, I put this to the vote. All those in favour? And that is carried. Thank you, councillors. Agenda item 29, to receive the report and recommendations from the Human Resources Committee. And the meeting was held on the 14th of April 2025. Councillor Oliver.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to move the report of the meeting held on the 14th of April be approved and adopted. The main thrust of this meeting was to bring our pensions discretionary policy in line with our neighbouring authorities, creating more flexibility as staff members move towards retirement. I would just like to add that this report was prepared by our new HR manager, Belinda Collins, who recently had an unfortunate accident. She's not at work. She's fractured, I believe, her ankle. We wish her well, and she's been a very, very key addition to our officer base. So I do hope that Belinda is well, and I'm sure that we'll know with in due course. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, is there a seconder for this? Somebody to second? Yeah. Councillor Vicky Cook. Thank you. I shall now call over the report. If the minute is not reserved for discussion, it will automatically be approved without debate. If members want to speak and or amend the recommendation, you must reserve the minute when I call out the minute number. And it is the meeting of the 14th of April 2025, HR 2413, Rother District Council Pensions Discretion Review. No? In which case, I put this to the vote. All those in favour? And that is carried. Thank you. And I'm sure that Councillor Oliver, you will convey my own best wishes to Belinda for her speedy recovery. Agenda item 30, to receive the report on appointments to outside bodies, to receive and approve the report of the Chief Executive on the appointment of representatives to outside bodies. Councillor Oliver.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to move the whole of the report of the Chief Executive be approved and adopted, including the proposed nominations as Appendices 1 and 2 where appropriate. There are replacement members that have been confirmed following the resignation of Chas Pearce. Therefore, the Battle Area Sports Centre, Councillor Burton, and for the time being, the Coombe Valley CIC, Councillor Byrne.
Thank you, Councillor. And do we need a seconder? Yes, we need a seconder. Councillor Burton. Thank you. Are there any other nominations to serve on the outside bodies that are listed on the appendices, or can these be taken en bloc? Councillor Field.
Thank you. I really should have read this more carefully before this evening and made my inquiry before the meeting started. Under Rother Local Strategic Partnership, it says the person is the leader or deputy of the council, and then it says me. Well, I am neither of those things.
Councillor Oliver, do you wish to answer?
Pass.
I'm being informed that this is something which is capable of amendment, and that will be done.
Good.
Councillor Barnes.
Can I take the opportunity to ask the council to express their thanks to our representative from the Rye Harbour Management Committee, former district councillor, and somebody who has served as chairman of that management committee for a great many years. I think it would be a pity to let the occasion pass without expressing our thanks to him. Councillor Lloyd, that is.
I think we note that with pleasure and with thanks, and I'm very glad that you raised that, Councillor Barnes. Thank you very much indeed. No doubt the minutes will record that, will they not? Yes, good. Now, am I able to move to a vote? Yes. Yes. So now those in favour of the motion as amended, as suitably corrected, those in favour, please. And that is carried. Thank you very much. Thank you. Agenda item 31, to receive the annual report of the Member Development Task Group. And this time I call on Councillor Coleman.
Thank you very much, Chair. You'll see the annual report as follows. I followed in sort of very esteemed footsteps from Councillor Killeen in taking over this task group, and it's a real pleasure. And the sort of purpose of the task group completely changed with local government reorganisation from what was going to be focusing on developing a training package for a new cohort of Rother District Councillors come 2027 has suddenly obviously been thwarted by the fact that Rother District Council no longer exist, and so now we're very much readjusting to focus on equipping our members so that they can be their best and most informed and educated selves going into whatever new horizons they may pursue, be that on a unitary or whatever. So I'd like to move the report, please. Chair.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Timpey got in first. And does anyone wish to speak on this? And if not, I put it to the meeting. All those in favour? And that is carried. Thank you. And agenda item 32, to receive the annual report of the Overview and Scrutiny Committee submitted in accordance with Article 6 of the Constitution. Councillor Osborne.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, you will see my report, capably written by Louise. You'll see another busy year for the Overview and Scrutiny Committee. I say that sort of ironically that the last meeting was cancelled due to a lack of business, but we had some reports come in, but they were sort of delayed, so we decided to go on the keep Lisa happy and reduce travel, and we had an evening off and didn't bother. But we've got a Zoom meeting, a Teams meeting tomorrow at 2:30, so we're going to make up for it. What I will do is thank the members of the committee for their diligence and sometimes long evenings getting through some long agendas. And particular thanks to Councillor Vicky Cook, who is the Vice Chairman. And much work has been done by members across the council with the various task and finish groups. So a lot of good work there. One of the task and finish groups has sort of hit some buffers or a closed door at the moment, which is chaired by Councillor Barnes here. This is the planning enforcement one. But we're working to push that door open and try and get somewhere. But we'll see. But happy to resolve that the report be noted. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. And is there a seconder for this? Councillor Stenger. Thank you. And does any councillor wish to speak? Councillor Oliver.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I would just really like to acknowledge the work done by Overview and Scrutiny. I think they've been a very functioning committee. I think that they've looked at the tasks of there. They've prepared a lot of good responses that I know officers have valued, and also Cabinet in bringing these forward. So I think that the function is really working well, and I think this cooperation is so vital in us getting the right decisions at the end of the day. And I would thank you, Paul, for all the work that you've done with your team.
Does any other councillor wish to speak? If not, I will put the matter to the vote. All those in favour? And that is carried overwhelmingly. Thank you, councillors. The annual meeting is now closed. The video stream will stop, though we will now continue to hold meetings of each of the committees to elect their chairs and vice chairs and agree the start time of their meetings in the new civic year. And I now hand over for that purpose to our Chief Executive, Lorna Ford.